The top secret projects we've covered on Ancient Aliens, perhaps the most nefarious, is a group of clandestine government agents who will do whatever it takes to keep extraterrestrial encounters quiet. At number 8 on our list, the Men in Black.
Bridgeport, Connecticut, 1952. World War II Air Force veteran Albert Bender establishes one of America's first UFO organizations, the International Flying Saucer Bureau. The IFSB publishes a quarterly journal, Space Review, to share stories of UFO sightings with its 600 worldwide members. But just 1 year after launching, Bender claims he was visited by 3 strange men in black suits who threatened both his fledgling organization and his life.
Albert K. Bender coined the term Men in Black to describe the people who cautioned him not to talk about UFOs, not to talk about flying saucers, and above all, not to talk about extraterrestrials.
The Men in Black are without doubt the most feared and sinister beings in ufology. The Men in Black go around threatening people who've seen UFOs, who've been abducted, even in some cases people who've found crop circles.
Encounters with the Men in Black have been reported for more than 7 decades. But just who or what are the Men in Black?
There's a lot of Men in Black stories that have occurred over the years. Enough to make you conclude that there is an agency involved, or agencies involved, over the years that from time to time have felt it was important to silence UFO witnesses.
Are the Men in Black a secret government agency that is tasked with both investigating and concealing an extraterrestrial presence on Earth? Based on Albert Bender's account of his experience with the Men in Black, some researchers believe these intimidating figures may even be alien entities themselves.
He said late one night when he was working in his attic room, these 3 shadowy, fedora-wearing figures literally materialized through the walls of the bedroom. And of course the 3 men were the Men in Black. He thought they were an extraterrestrial police force.
If the Men in Black are, in fact, of otherworldly origin, could it be that the government is working with extraterrestrials to keep their presence hidden from the public? Whatever the truth may be, many in the UFO community are convinced these shadowy figures continue to operate today.
UFO sightings haven't stopped, quite the opposite. So if UFO sightings are still going on, there's no reason to suppose that Men in Black aren't still going around, speaking to witnesses, and if they're successful in their mission, we don't get to hear about it. It's quite possible that the Men in Black are still operating, still intimidating witnesses, and still being the gatekeepers of the UFO secret.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia, November 15th, 1966. 2 young couples are driving down a dark road outside of town. As they pass by an old building, they are startled by a frightening sight.
They claim to have seen a large winged creature, 6 to 7 foot tall, gray in color, and 2 large red eyes. They said this creature flew over their car and followed them back into town. That was the beginning of the Mothman sightings.
The harrowing account was picked up by the local press and incited panic across town. Over the next year, residents were terrorized by encounters with the winged monster.
There were over 100 reported sightings to the local authorities. You had some people who claimed to have seen it while driving in their car. You had the other people seeing it in their front yard.
The strange sightings attracted the attention of local journalist Mary Heyer.
Mary Heyer was just a normal, legitimate journalist investigating your average stories around town. And then she was suddenly plunged into this issue involving the Mothman.
Mary interviewed dozens of people who encountered the Mothman. But soon after she began her investigation, she was visited by a group of mysterious government agents, known only as the Men in Black.
Mary Heyer was visited by Men in Black who told her to stop writing about the Mothman and all these strange encounters. Stop writing about this. You don't want to be involved in this.
The Men in Black are the cleanup squad. They are the ones who hide the traces, hide the footsteps, so to speak, of the alien presence. Or phenomena such as the Mothman.
Could it be that the creature known as the Mothman was an otherworldly being? One that the alleged Men in Black were attempting to cover up?
My name is Joseph Spencer. From May 1970 to October 1997, I served the United States government as a top secret operative, but not in a category that is commonly known or understood. I was known as a Man in Black. Following 7 years acting as a counterintelligence agent for the CIA, I was recruited for a new assignment that entailed working within above top secret operations. I was aware of the black budget projects, but never knew the context of them due to their high level of secrecy. Even the president was denied access to their inner workings. Annually, billions of dollars are poured into black projects, which operate without any supervision or intrusion. They have full autonomy. The operations deal primarily with advancing military technologies, most of which have been reverse engineered from recovered alien spacecrafts that had either crashed or were shot down by our military. The public, sadly, will never, ever have knowledge of these operations. This transition in my life happened in 1970. The senior black project director was William T. Latham, who had worked under CIA Executive Director Richard Schlesinger. Latham stated that I was the perfect candidate for my new position. I was a foster child, and I had no connections to existing relatives. I had no friends or social life. It was easy for them to erase my past and provide me with a new identity. I gave myself to them as a priest would to his God. But first, my mind had to be erased. I was injected with various forms of mind-altering drugs, induced hypnosis, followed with antegrade and retrograde amnesia. The goal was to program me to do two things: kill and forget. After 9 months of programming, I had become a Man in Black. What I later discovered was that not all the Men in Black were human. About a third were alien hybrids. Their distinctive feature was the absence of whites in their eyes, giving the impression of empty eye sockets. This unsettled me, and it took months to adjust to the reality of alien integration. My assignments largely dealt with UFO sightings and crash sites. In August of 1971, I witnessed my first UFO crash site just north of Edwards Air Force Base in California. Inside the craft were 3 grayed humanoids, 2 dead, 1 still alive. Also in the craft was a human female abductee. The alien humanoids were transported to the base, but 2 witnesses had arrived before us and took several photographs. The first surrendered his camera, but the second fled. When we apprehended him, he resisted, and I was ordered to silence him, which I did. The killing of witnesses was executed with a wand that acted very much like today's taser, but the voltage from the wand would cause immediate cardiac arrest, and the victim's death would be attributed to natural causes. We silenced countless victims, not only men, but women of all ages and even teenagers. The following day, after each kill, our memories were reset, so we would have no recollection of the murders. A good majority of the victims were ufologists and whistleblowers. Among the ufologists I personally silenced were Paul William Cooper, Milton Vigay, Claude Monroe, Anthony Vargas, and noted documentarian Samantha Willis. That was how effective the mind conditioning was. And it's her face that haunts my dreams more than anyone's to this day.
So they stuffed out a documentarian?
Yep.
Well, that's not good to hear.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on. In 1954, Dwight Eisenhower signed what's known as the Granada Treaty with the alien gray race. In exchange for shared alien technologies, the Greys were allowed to abduct a number of humans annually for medical examination. The Greys also demanded anonymity from the public. A short time later, human technology took a giant leap forward with circuit chips, fiber optics, and lasers. The Granada Treaty is still active today, but the number of human abductions has increased, despite objections from the world governments.